This is the moment. This right here is the only place, I think, where you could begin to fix Doctor Who. If Doctor Who is to be fixed at all. The 12th Doctor regenerating into the 13th Doctor. Peter Capaldi's Doctor into Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. If at some point in the future, a proper hard reboot is done of this series, this scene could be re-edited and the Doctor could regenerate into a different male Doctor, and the story could continue from there. The 13th, 14th and 15th Doctors could be written off as being in some kind of alternate universe, split the franchise into two distinct universes and leave it at that. The reason this could be preferable is because firstly, the Doctor should never have become a woman. The seeds for this gender swap were laid when they made the Master a woman, Missy. You could see where they were going with that. It was inevitable. They were hinting that they wanted to make the Doctor a woman. They established first that Time Lords could change from male to female and vice versa, not because it was some important story addition, but because reasons of woke, simple as. And those of us who complained at the time were ridiculed by an especially virulent section of the Doctor Who fanbase. But we were vindicated in the end because the 13th Doctor would end up having the lowest ratings of the show's history. I will say that the first season of the Whittaker-Chibnall era did have slightly higher ratings than the end of the Capaldi era, but that was mostly the novelty of a first female Doctor, so lots of people tune in, but the ratings crashed over the next couple of years. And they got even lower when Ncuti Gatwa took over a few years later. This ended up forcing the BBC to shelve Gatwa's third season and put the show on hiatus until next Christmas, Christmas 2026, where there's going to be another special. I have no problem with female lead characters, but what I do have a problem with is with traditionally male characters being recast with females just because it's current year and Slay Queen and Stunning and Brave and is the future going to be old girl? We can only hope. I wouldn't want James Bond or Captain Kirk recast as a woman for the same reasons. You can justify such gender swaps with all the sci-fi techno babble you want, but at the end of the day, it's not being done for sci-fi storytelling reasons, but for agenda-driven ones. Secondly, the aforementioned Whittaker/Chris Chibnall era gave us the Timeless Children episode, which retconned and destroyed the Doctor's backstory and destroyed the mystery of his character and the Time Lords. The episode established that William Hartnell's Doctor was not the first iteration of the character, but that the Doctor had begun life as a diverse female child. And then, embracing yet more identity politics, the most recent seasons of Doctor Who, starring Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, have given us the lowest rated episodes of the entire franchise's 60-year history. Now, I'm not saying that the Capaldi era wasn't without its problems. The Doctor was frequently talked down to by Clara, put in his place. I mean, she once said that the universe is full of testosterone. Trust me, it's unbearable. A Time Lord who regenerated into a diverse female immediately just had to put down men by saying, "Only time I've ever been a man, that last body. Dear Lord, how do you cope with all that ego?" What a strange thing to say, given that you were just a male a few moments ago, so I guess you should know. The absolutely obnoxious and highly overrated River Song character once said to the Doctor, "Are you thinking? Stop it. You're a man. It looks weird." Now, taken on their own, those lines are just quirky jokes, I guess. I don't see where they're funny, but anyway, the issue is that these lines are made on these kinds of shows without the male characters being able to playfully respond. It's not two-way banter. If a male character ever said these kinds of things about women and femininity, turn the tables, and it's just not accepted by a huge amount of the public. That's my issue. That's actually my biggest problem with this, and I think it speaks volumes as to what male audiences are expected to tolerate that female audiences never would. The BBC would be inundated with complaints about misogyny and sexism if male characters ever spoke in such a manner about women. My only real issue with the examples I've given is the double standard itself. Allow the male characters to also playfully respond in such a manner, and we have equality, right? Isn't that what we want? Where's the equality here? And I've said before, I think of all of the sci-fi shows that have embraced the message, Doctor Who has been the worst affected. And I don't see any other way of rectifying that without undoing the last few eras and the events of those eras. Recent Doctor Who seasons need to be written off and retconned away as some kind of alternate universe events that have no bearing on past or future continuity. But sadly, that is unlikely to ever happen. It's just a wishful thing. It's probably never going to happen. And I think it ultimately means that there's no real repairing Doctor Who. If the series was genuinely to be fixed and this era of The Message was to be reevaluated sometime in the future and a decision was made to undo it, I think this moment, the regeneration of the 12th Doctor into the 13th, would be the moment when a narrative fork in the road could be created and a new corrective path could be forged for Doctor Who. But I won't be holding my breath there, folks. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I also have a second channel called Computing Forever where I'm producing more content. So please subscribe over there as well. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.